I can't do it.
And today I have joining me all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, Melanie Verstraete. How you doing today, Melanie?
I am fantastic, Michael. How are you?
You know, I can't complain, and you know the saying, if you did complain, nobody wants to hear it anyway, right? But, yeah, you know, it's the day before Friday, and I can't wait. You got any big plans for the weekend?
What I usually do, rest and relax and take naps and do whatever I want to do.
That sounds about, well, I'm always like either building something or, yeah, building something for the most part. I try to keep
Cool.
busy on the weekends, doing housework and stuff, you know. I don't get a
What are you
chance.
building?
So I had just built a doghouse, and I just redid my workshop. I replaced some boards that had gone bad on it, and I repainted it. And now I'm also in the process of painting my house. And what else am I doing? My new studio, I just got this done, and my gym. And yeah, so a lot of stuff going on here. Yeah.
That's a lot of projects.
It's a lot, you know, you got to stay busy. They say the older you get, you got to keep the wheels going, right? So you don't fall apart. And these wheels are getting rusty.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I spent some time out in Phoenix a while back, and I'm going to tell you, that's like one of the hottest places on this planet. Well,
Oh, come on.
I-
Where are you again? Remind me.
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you guys get true 4 seasons over there, right?
Well, I don't know if we got it this year. Like, it didn't even snow over here this year, which I was bummed about. It's freaking nuts. And there's only one other place that I think could be hotter than Phoenix, and that's Monroe, Louisiana. Good God, that was.
Except for we don't have that wetness.
Yeah, it's dry over there.
It is dry. And I know lots of people who actually don't live here like to make fun of it and be like, "Oh, it's a dry heat," with like air quotes. There's a huge difference between, say, 95 or 100 degrees with virtually minimal humidity and like 95, 100 degrees and like 50%, 80% humidity. It's like, it's night and day, truly.
Oh, it's crazy. I used to live in Colorado. I lived in Colorado Springs for almost 10 years. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's the coldest place on the planet, and it's one of the hottest places. It's crazy because the elevation, I guess.
Yes.
It's easy to burn. I burned a lot. I did see one of the scariest things ever when I was in Phoenix. It's like a
What'd you
wall of sand, like a sandstorm.
Oh, yeah, those
Yeah.
are cool.
No, that shit was, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not going to harm you, but it just looks freaky when you see it coming at you.
It
It's
does.
crazy.
It does look really sci-fi, if you will.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and, because you have an interesting story. I did some reading on your articles on your webpage. And matter of fact, your
I have lots of
webpage,
stories,
the,
Michael.
thewildheartlife.com. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I said I have lots of stories.
Lots. I want to hear them. Yeah. So give us a brief synopsis of your life, how you came up with the Wild Heart Life.
Yeah.
You know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How did I become who I am?
Yeah.
Well,
I-
really long story short, I grew up pretty dysfunctional, 6 stepdads by the time I was 21, which I'm sure you were reading
Yeah.
some stories of, like one took my door off the hinges. And I just, I thought I had in my own mind, I was a very happy-go-lucky young girl. My nickname as a little girl with all the neighbors was Sunshine.
Uh-huh.
And so even though my life was chaos and drama and like survival mode, I always felt like I had an inner light, if that makes sense. And maybe that's why I made it through it. But there was a lot of crap. There definitely was a lot of crap. There was, luckily, all my stepdads except for one were pretty cool. So thank God for that. But the one that was with me the longest was pretty much a dick. It's
Now,
just
how old were
no
you
point in
with this one?
sugarcoating it.
What
Yeah.
what? So he was the last stepdad.
No, no,
No.
no. He was the last. He was from ages 13 to 18, so very
Oh.
formative years for a young girl, or for anybody really.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I grew up, and then you don't know these things when you're in it, but when I started to get a little older and start to date, I did not attract like the greatest kind of guys. I was a people pleaser. I self-abandoned. I had abandonment wounds. I turned myself into whatever anybody else wanted me to be, who I thought loved me in my life so that they wouldn't leave. So I was a complete chameleon. Um, I felt like it was my job to take care of everybody while I neglected myself. So I was like, I mothered my mother in essence. And I didn't know at the time, but obviously I'm on the other side of this now. And I think this is really, really common for a lot of women today. I wore like this shield, this like armor of you can't hurt me and I don't need you. And so it's a lot of this like boss babe in hyper independent woman. It's like the today's like modern woman. I I lived through that years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing I ever really wanted was a good man and to be loved, and the thing and to be chosen and to be a priority. And the thing that was so ironic, but not once you know what I know now, is that there's no way I could have ever attracted what I really wanted because I was the man and because I didn't feel worthy of, even though I wanted it, I didn't feel worthy of it, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up marrying somebody who was just dark, twisted. I do not use this word lightly, narcissist. I feel like our whole society wants to call everybody a damn narcissist. So,
Yeah.
you don't actually know what you're talking about when you label it, but this person could have been the poster child for that. And other labels if we wanted. It's very, very toxic. It was very unhealthy. Um, but I didn't know any better. And I had such a twisted belief that because he paid like more attention to me than any other man before. This is what's so funny. That I was like, ooh, he must be really into me. No, he's psycho. Okay. That attention is not healthy attention, it's psychotic attention, girl, right? But obviously, I didn't know because I didn't know. My upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, there were no mirrors of what was healthy, right? So, how I became who I am now and how I became a coach and a leader in the space of helping people stay out of toxic relationships and get into really beautiful, healthy relationships is it was about 7 years ago. I was married again, so twice. And I was realizing, because we had been fighting like crazy. So, something most people don't understand is that you will continue to date the same person over and over and over again until you do the work to change why you chose that person to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's in essence what I was getting, right? And I'm having this realization. I think I did a post about this too. I'm leaning up against my kitchen counter, literally. I'm in my early 40s, and I'm just having this like come to Jesus, what the fuck moment with myself, contemplating my second divorce, 3 kids
Mm.
with the first husband, a Brady Bunch family with the second husband, and we just fought like crazy and it was super toxic. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you that you keep choosing these kinds of men? Because it's not like I didn't attract good men. I did, but I was so terrified that they would figure out that I wasn't as great as they thought that I was, and they would rip my heart and leave me, that I ruined it. I sabotaged it.
Mm.
And so that space that question, you could say, was a spiritual awakening for me. And I don't know what your listeners believe in, but I woke up. I was like smacked awake in essence. I felt like God like smacked me upside my head and was like, did you get that lesson this time? Because I gave you a couple good ones, right? And I knew at that moment in time that I was the common denominator here. Sure, one was a narcissist. They were belittling, they were controlling, they talked down to me. You know, I abandoned myself to please them. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm the one who chose them, though, right? These weren't arranged marriages. I chose them. And especially in today's society, I feel like we're so trained to blame everybody else and everything else. But that victimhood mentality is self-sabotaging. There's no empowerment in saying, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. It's like, yeah, all these things happened, but I chose them. So what inside of me is okay with choosing men that treat me bad? What inside of me needs to shift so that I no longer magnetize and choose these men who treat me like shit? I start to actually attract and choose good men, men I deserve. And so I just started working on me like it was my job, like it was my job. Like I was obsessed with fixing myself. I felt broken. And the truth is, none of us are broken, but it doesn't take away how you feel, right? And so in all of that quest of like self-exploration, who am I even? Because I didn't even know who I was in that too. I was so busy being what everybody else wanted me to be in my past, including my mother, my brothers, the stepdads, the husbands, the kids. I didn't even know who I was. And so it was a quest of like self-exploration, and I'm coming first now. I am the most important person in my life, and I need to come first for the first time. And in that beautiful discovery, I like to call it like unbecoming, unlearning, it became crystal clear. The beautiful thing is I had multiple careers in my life and very like highly coveted jobs like medical device rep and copier sales rep and a designer for Ford Motor Company. Like these weren't jobs, right? Like, these were careers. And I would be in there for a couple of years and be like, I'm done with this crap. I'm so bored. And my friends and family would just look at me like I was crazy and tell me I was crazy and what's wrong with you? Why can't you just stay still? I'm like, I'm not inspired. I'm bored. And for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Now I get to like, yes, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
So you said something. I just want to ask. You were a designer for Ford Motor Company?
Yeah.
What
That was my first real job.
Like the actual car designs or like the interior designs or what?
So it's not as sexy as it sounds. I'll just say that.
Really?
Our division was in charge of the F-150s.
Oh, okay. The trucks. Yeah.
Trucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So when I was going through that self-exploration and really personal development, right? It was a quest of unbecoming, unlearning. How do I fix what's broken inside of me was in essence my quest, right? Again, anybody listening? You're not fucking broken, okay? But you might feel it, and that's how I felt. That's why I speak that language. In all of that, it became so clear that when I got on the other side of that like shitstorm, right? When I started to have inner peace for the first time, when I never felt peace in my life, when I started to thrive for the first time, when my whole life was about survival, when I started to actually truly love myself and stop shit talking myself, when I stopped attracting trolls and started to attract kings, when everything in my life started to shift and I felt like in love with life, it was this inner knowing of this is why you didn't stay still in any of your careers. This is why you were never inspired, because this is what you're meant to do. This is what you're here to teach people. who better to show somebody the way out of where you've been that is a similar path of theirs than the one who's walked the path, right? And so that just became so clear. And in that, like, of course, that was my first client, right? And then in that, I knew that I needed to be educated in how to coach properly, how to be trauma informed, how to hold safe space, right? So I made sure that I got certified also. So, because it's really important that you do no harm. Like this, you're dealing with somebody's mind, body, and soul. And so to do no harm is really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's safe to say, you said you were a mess. You were like a train wreck earlier in life, and you contribute that to the way you were brought up. With I can't even imagine having 6 stepdads or 6 stepmothers, and I don't even know how many siblings do you have off of all of that.
You see me, I'm like, let me count. I have,
Makes Christmas interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, I have 2 half brothers on my mom's side that came when I was 13 and 15. They were born when I was 15. And then my dad has 4. Yeah, but none of them have ever met, like, all together.
Oh,
but
really?
It's 2 separate families. 2, like, very separate families. Yeah.
Seems like it would still be kind of cool, just to meet, maybe have like one big powwow. Yeah, I don't know. I know some of the most beautiful women, and they are always dating these dirtbag men. And I could never put my finger on why in the world. Like, men would feel lucky to be with this girl. Like, most good guys that have their shit together will never find women like this. They only wish, but these women always date the losers, the men with no jobs, the men that do drugs, and not all of them, but there's a lot of them that do that. And it's like, why? Why are they doing this? Is it that's the way they grew up? Like, maybe their dad was a dirtbag and they are learning from what they've seen as they were growing up. Maybe they feel like they were treated so bad they don't have self-esteem to go after someone else. I don't know. Am I, like, in the right ballpark here with this?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in there. And it's, people think just because you look a certain way means you should be able to have, like, the world by the ass, so to speak. It's not true. It's not true. Like, neither one of my husbands were very attractive. I for sure settled. Like, there's no doubt about it. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole. Like, it was accurate. And I don't even mean as much of what they looked like, although that was a factor, but who they were as men.
Yeah.
Like, the quality of a human of who they were, right?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of character did they have?
Wait, were you that girl I was just talking about?
Yeah, kind of. But what the factors that play out, okay, what I have found in my own experience through going through this crap and then doing all the research to figure things out and work with the best of the best to heal and understand myself, why did I do the things that I did, right? It's like the psychology, the science, the spirituality, all of it wrapped up in it. Is that at its most simplistic form, you could call it lots of other things. You could call it trauma, you could call it mother wounds, father wounds, you could call it inner child wounds. Like, there's all kinds of labels, right? But at its most simplistic form, when we get into shitty relationships, when we get into unhealthy, toxic relationships, it's because we have a shitty relationship with ourselves. That is the bottom line. No person who has an ounce of self-love, self-acceptance, and self-respect would ever allow another person to treat them badly. They wouldn't. And if they did, they would say, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Or they would at least, bare minimum, right, hold up a healthy boundary and say, hey, I know you're having a bad day or whatever, right? But it's not okay for you to talk to me like that. And then the changed behavior would be the thing that that person was looking for, right? But if that person stays in that same like belittling or condemning or criticizing, no. If you have self-love, self-respect, you know yourself, you know your value, you don't tolerate being treated badly.
So if you don't have any self-respect and you don't love yourself, is this why you are constantly attracting negative people in your life, or is there something else that plays as a factor into that?
That is part of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if because I felt at that time in the past, right? So I think back of like how I thought, how I felt, what I thought about myself. Because I felt unworthy, even though nobody told me I was unworthy. Because I felt concerned that I was going to be abandoned because I had a revolving door of men abandoning me in essence, right? Which it isn't actually true, but that's how it registers, right? So because of that, what happens is you carry a form of trauma in your nervous system. You could call it a habitual way of thinking, but the bottom line is it starts to live in your nervous system, in your body, right? And so you're conditioned to be a certain way over time. If the same thing happens over and over and over and over and over again, then this thought pattern, which then becomes a feeling, which then becomes a belief, gets in essence encoded and embedded in your unconscious, in your subconscious mind, and then it becomes your autopilot, right? So for me, even though nobody told me I was unworthy, even though technically nobody abandoned me, because you can't actually be abandoned, I truly wasn't left in a dumpster, right? But because it felt that way, right, it registered to me as a little girl that way, and I believed it. It became part of me. It became my truth, if that makes sense. So our child, when we're little, when we're children, and even in the womb, we take on our parents' relationship with themselves. We take on the relationship with the world around us. We take on the relationship with what our parents have with each other, with money, with value. Like if a child doesn't feel, if a child's basic needs are not met, right? They don't feel safe, they don't feel seen, and they don't feel heard. They're going to grow up and they're going to, in essence, play out these wounds, these needs that were never met in their adult relationships. So a lot of adults are running around like little children in adult bodies, trying to find the perfect person that's going to finally complete them. Oh, it's you. You'll be the one. You'll be the one to make me happy forever, right? And then they're not, because it's an inside job. It's not their job. It's your job. And so if you're not happy with yourself, if you don't love and accept yourself, if you are not at peace with yourself, you can't find that in a healthy way with another. And so everybody is always a mirror to us. And so if we can look at it that way and no longer think, oh, it's your fault, you hurt me, right? And look within and have self-love, self-compassion, and really just awareness. Like, how did I get the way that I am? How did I get to believe what I believe? How do I think? Why am I the way that I am? The more we can understand ourselves and then try to become the best version of ourselves, the better we're going to be for each other in relationships and really the whole world, in truth.
So 7 years ago, you got divorced from your last marriage, correct?
Yes.
Did you go on a hiatus from dating for a while until you got yourself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Good to
because
go.
that's the very first thing I said to myself. The rest of my, like, this time is called me time. This is me time. Of course, my kids will always be a factor, so I'm still going to be a mom, right?
Yeah.
But my life is going to be about me. I'm going to actually do things that light me up, that make me happy, because I didn't do that. I never did that. Because society will tell you that you're not a good woman, you're not a good wife, you're not a good person, you're not a good mother. You need to deplete, you need to give of yourself until you're like ragged and you look and feel like a bag of shit, because that makes you a good woman. No, it's bullshit and it's a lie, okay? You have to come first. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. You have to be the number one person in your life, and then everybody else is second. Because how are you giving? And this is, people don't teach us, and people tell you this is selfish. Well, then be fucking selfish, because guess what? The whole world would be better if you're selfish, okay? Because if you're an empty cup, in essence, right?
Yep.
So let's paint a picture of like who I used to be. There was no time for me. There was no self-care. What's self-care? What are you talking about? I want to pass out on the couch by like 9 o'clock because I'm exhausted from my whole day of taking care of my husband, taking care of the children, being like the perfect mom at the school and the perfect friend and the perfect daughter-in-law. Shit's exhausting, okay? And then and you don't even like yourself. Everybody else might like you, but you don't even like yourself. And so you are an empty cup. You are depleted. How are you giving from that space? You're not good to anybody when you're like that. So let's flip the script on this bullshit lie that we've all been told, that we just need to give and give and give. Giving's important, yes, but not to your own detriment. Not to sacrifice yourself. The only way that you can be a good giver is when you give to yourself first. I used to be so tired, and I was just taking care of a husband and a couple kids, so 3 kids, right? Now I take care of a dog, a bird, still my 3 kids, all my coaching clients. I hop on podcasts, I do workshops, I'm doing in-person events, and I have so much energy. And the reason is because I'm always giving back to myself. I'm always nourishing myself. I'm always taking care of myself. I'm always taking time out to be good to myself, for myself. And then I'm so much better for everybody else.
So give some examples. What are some things you do to take care of yourself?
Yeah, self-care, of
course.
Yeah. So every day, this is my non-negotiable, okay? Mm-hmm. And what I do within this non-negotiable can deviate. I give myself fluidity. I can't be so like it must be one way. So I have what I call me time. So it starts off, I get up, I get out of bed, I make myself a nice hot cup of coffee. Yes, I know I'm in Arizona, but it's a Midwest girl in me, loves the hot cup of coffee. I put my sugar in it, I put my cream in it, and I open up a book. Whatever book I feel intuitively guided to read for that day, I sit down and I read and I sip my coffee. And then by the time I'm done with my coffee, I'll be done with the book. And then I will either go out for a hike in nature. I almost always will meditate. Sometimes I dance. I lay out in the sun and listen to the birds chirp and feel the breeze and feel the sun on my face. And I put myself in a really beautiful, appreciated feeling or state. And I do that for like about an hour. It's like hour and a half. And that's like my me time. Whatever. And those are like some of the common things I do. Sometimes I change it up. It depends on whatever I feel like doing. Mm-hmm. It's always what would make me feel good. What feels like nourishing to me. And like, walking out in nature, that's not even that big of a deal. It's not like this has to cost any money. But I feel so at peace when I'm in nature. I feel just a natural sense of appreciation, of love, of genuine joy. And so when you can start your day like that, right? You're setting up your mood, your vibration, your frequency, whatever your state, whatever word you want to use, to magnetize, okay, let's talk about the law of attraction here for a second, to magnetize more things that feel good, that bring you joy. If you start off your day, like, let's just think about this for a second, okay? You ever, like, have a good day and it's like a really good day? Like, when it's good, it's really good. But then when it's bad, it's really bad. So, like, maybe you stubbed your toe when you, like, got out of bed and you start screaming and swearing, and then you ended up tripping, and then you're on your way to work, and then you're late and you hit, like, every light because the vibrational signal, your mood, your feeling, whatever word you want to use, is sending out that, and you're basically saying, hey, send me more of that crap. Send me more of the crap that makes me angry versus makes me happy. That's like a quick summary of the law.
I guess, yeah, okay, so you're manifesting all the bad stuff that's happening to you by constantly, thinking negative stuff. Like, I get pissed off when I'm driving, and it's like I hit every red light, everyone, and I'm like, oh, really? So yeah, it just puts you in a bad mood.
It just adds to it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like understanding that no matter what, right? Like, if I can be the woman that I am today, after that crap past that I had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody and everybody can do it. We do not control our outside circumstances, okay? We don't. But we do control how we handle it, how we take it, how we choose to see it, and how we choose to feel about it.
Yeah.
So if we want to see the bad, we will see it. It's super easy to see. Everything will come to us because we are that powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't get this. But what you expect, you will get. So why not expect the best? Why not start seeing the good? Because there's just as much good out there. And so turn off the fucking TV that's full of gloom and doom and fear and manipulation. Stop listening to all the crap about COVID and viruses and the sky is falling, right? Like, be on guard of your mind.
Yeah.
Pay attention to not only what you consume internally with food, but what you allow all your senses, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch, what you smell, to consume, because you become it. You become it. So if you don't like your life, start making different choices, because nothing can change until you change. That's the episode.
You know what a lot of people will say when they hear you say this is, hey, it's easier said than done. And I've been...
I know it.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've been there. People used to tell me, and some still tell me, that my picker is broke. All right? And I look in the mirror sometimes and I'm like, damn, I think they're right. What in the fuck is wrong with why do I keep picking these same women like this? And it's like, usually the last 3 relationships I've been in, they've all ended bad to the point where I don't even speak to these women anymore, Yeah. And I feel like it's not my fault, why it happened. It's always an issue that went on with the girl, like she cheated or she was seeing somebody else behind my back, which is cheating, I guess. And that was the last 3. So, or they're just crazy, I guess. And it's like they say, you attract what you are. So I'm like, damn, what am I doing? So I stuck back and I looked at that, and kind of still in the process of working things out with myself. Like, I haven't been on a date in 4 months. I just don't even want to, honestly. I haven't been looking, and I'll know when it's time, But a lot of people are like me out there right now. Some are even worse. They go into a relationship with a wall up already,
Yes.
And if you go into a relationship with a wall up, you're just looking for it to end early. It'll never last. So, yeah. So what do you tell people when they say, well, that's easier said than done?
Well, we can make excuses or we can make changes. Like, that's the bottom line. Like, you can stay with what you're doing now and you will continue to get the same thing over and over again in some other way, shape, or form, right? Like, you're living, you're here. Do you want to have fucking fun, or do you want to be in misery? Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to hear that it's easier said than done. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I know. Like, but you can still do it. And so the problem is that most people will try to DIY it, right? The thing that shifted so much for me was that I hired somebody to help me. I hired a fucking coach. I didn't know how to do it. I tried the DIY thing. I tried. I watched YouTube videos. I read books. I listened to podcasts. I went to seminars. And guess what? It doesn't change, because you have to get to the root cause, right? So, like in your instance, what is the root cause of why you attract women like that? Yeah, again, you can blame them. You can blame them all you want, but there's something in you that wants those kind of women, right? Let's just call it what it is. And so,
Yes.
and so it's like, okay, let me have some introspection. Like, that is so important. Awareness is so important. Putting your head in the sand is not what you want to do. You truly, you and everybody else listening, you have to stop lying to yourself. You have to stop blaming. You are the only person that can change your life. You. It's you that has to make the decision, right? It's you that has to say, you know what? Enough's enough. Like, I don't want this shit anymore. And I actually don't want to guard my heart, because if I'm trying to guard myself from being hurt, guess what? I'm also guarding myself from ever being loved. It's not one or the other, people. So anybody who's listening, they're like, well, I'm just not going to date, and I'm just going to be single, and I'm going to have, promiscuous sex. Yeah, have fun with all that, and you might probably end up feeling empty, and you'll continue to attract the same people that are just as empty, because you're unwilling. That's the word I'm going to use here. You are unwilling to be honest with yourself. It takes that radical honesty. Don't bullshit yourself anymore, right? We all have stories. I could have continued to blame my mother, my dad, my stepdads, my exes. Yeah, I could have. Well, what's that getting me? There's nothing empowering in your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. Nobody out there made me do anything. I willingly made my choices. And so I can willingly choose something else. I unconsciously created a shitstorm of a life, and now I'm going to consciously create a beautiful life. Like, I don't think most people really realize how powerful they are. We are co-creators of our world. And it's how you feel that is your indicator. So when you said we attract what we are, I'll break it down even deeper than that. We attract how we feel. We attract how we feel. So how could I have not attracted men who treated me unworthy when I felt unworthy? It's a universal law. It's just like the law of gravity. It's perfect. There's no way. You can't attract a good man when you believe to your core that you're not worthy of a good man. It's not scientifically, metaphysically possible.
Yeah,
Just
and women can see that. I mean,
Yeah.
you can tell when a guy's probably insecure or just doesn't have confidence, when you're around him, right?
Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah. It's like an aura. Same with women. I mean, you can feel it
All
too.
of us. We're all energetic beings. So
Yeah.
you can feel somebody's vibe without them saying a word. Like, you ever walk into a room, a party or something, and you're like, ugh, I don't even know that person over there, but there's something about him like I just don't like, right? Because you're sensing his energy or her energy, his vibe. And the same thing on the other side of it. You could have just met somebody and it's like, oh my God, I love you. Like, you just feel just so bonded to him right away, right? It's the energy. It's the vibration that we're all emitting at all times that we can never turn off. It's who we are.
I'm feeling that with you right now because you exuberate high energy and positive light. So your program definitely works. It has to because you don't seem like the type of person that was a train wreck back in the day.
Yeah, no, you would never know that to know me now, right?
Yeah.
So any of the people who are listening, it's easier said than done. Yeah, and you could still do it.
Yeah.
It's like that old saying, where there's a will, there's a way, right? If you want to do it, you will do anything. But if you don't, you won't.
I guess it's just like going to the gym. It's, I need to get to the gym today, but no, I just want to sit here and watch Netflix. It's all about mindset. It's like, you ever done a cold plunge?
Yes.
So I do them every morning, and the first week that I was doing them, I would make excuses for myself. I was like, oh, if I do a cold plunge, I'm going to be late for work. Oh, God, it's like, you just have to overcome it. And, it's like the first 10 seconds is terrible. Terrible. It's still, to this day, the first 10 seconds is always terrible. But once you're done with it, you feel accomplished. And, it builds a stronger mindset, I think.
Yeah.
And, I'm a big proponent for cold plunges. I think they're so good for you physically and mentally. But, yeah. You definitely need to do them in Phoenix. That freaking 120-degree dry heat.
What I'll do is I'll be in the sauna at the gym, and then when it gets too hot, I'll just turn on the cold shower until I cool down, and then I'll go back in the sauna, and then I'll go back to the cold water, and I'll just keep doing that.
Yeah. You know what? I can't get in a cold shower. I can do a cold plunge, and I can do cryotherapy, but cold shower water just makes me go like, oh, God, I can't do it. It's the running water. I think that's what it is. It breaks your thermal shield. When you like go into a cold plunge, you're just there. You're not moving. You're still. So you have that thermal layer that's over your skin. Like if you move your hand or you move like your legs, you're like, oh God, that's freezing. But yeah, it's good stuff.
I get it. Yeah.
So are you dating now?
Yes, I'm dating. Yes.
So, do you use dating apps?
No.
Now, do you? Oh God, it's raining here. I don't know if you can hear that.
No, I can't hear it.
Oh, okay, but do you feel you don't use dating apps? So you might not know the answer to this, and it's a very subjective question anyway.
My clients do sometimes. So go ahead.
So, do you feel like people that use dating apps are mostly like torn people?
I don't want to generalize. I from what I'm hearing from people that I work with, that I tell them, tune into your own intuition. If your inner guidance, if your inner wisdom, right, if your connection to source says, to God says, get on a damn dating app, then do it, right?
Yeah.
But don't do it because you think that's the only thing that there is, right? Because, again, it's going to make people crazy, but this is the law of vibration again. You're magnetizing what you want. What I see today that's pretty common is a lot of the dating apps are basically being used as booty calls.
Booty calls, advertising for OnlyFans, and cryptocurrency. Yeah.
Casual sex, hookups, I don't know. But, I know people who met their soulmates on dating apps, so I'm like, just, you know what? You can't go wrong if you listen to your intuition. That's the real truth. But the problem is most of us can't even hear intuition because we're so busy listening to the shit talker that's running in our mind constantly. That's why meditation is so important. You got to get quiet.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that rumination. You got to quit, my big thing was always thinking back to things that happened in the past. And, you can't live for the future if you keep getting held back for the past. So that's where the past is. Exactly. It's in the past. It needs to stay back there. And all this was, I went to therapy for a while for it. And this was all taught to me in therapy, and it all made sense. And that's another thing. If you're struggling like with your relationships and you just feel like there's something wrong, there's nothing wrong. Go seeing a therapist. You know,
Yeah.
A therapist will help you get through a lot of shit. And there's nothing.
Get through more.
Okay. Shameless plug. I love it. Yes.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm not going to generalize in this, but traditional therapy still doesn't get to the root cause of issues. So talking is only so effective, right?
Yeah.
If you're berating the same thing over and over again, like nothing's going to change. Like, how do I start to shift? And that's what actually made me crazy in the very beginning and made me so much more persistent and resilient in finding solutions, because everywhere I went, whether it was a therapist or like a podcast or a seminar, it's like, these are all the ways you're fucked up. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Already know this. I'm living this, right?
Yeah.
How do I change?
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm fucked up. I'm living in this body. It's really clear, okay? I have a high level of awareness here, okay? I'm no longer lying to myself. Now, how do I change? How do I fix this fucked upness, in essence, right? And so that's what I sought out, and that's what I found it was missing. What was missing is nobody was getting to the root cause of why did you date guys that treat you like shit in the first place. It's not about how to talk to a man. It's not about the right lines to say. It's not about a dating app. It's the inner game. The inner game is what matters. When your inner game is on point, all the other shit takes care of itself. All the dating apps, the matchmakers, you can meet your soulmate at the freaking grocery store if the inner game is on point. You don't need to do anything. It will come to you.
If your inner game is on point. So fix your inner game, people.
That's right. It's an inner game. All of it. Your outside world. Okay, people? Everybody listening. Your outside world. This might trigger a lot of people. A lot of shit I say triggers people. I don't care. I'm here for it. I'm a truth seeker and a truth teller, okay? Your outside world is a physical manifestation of your inside world. If you don't like what you see with your five senses, then you got to change what the hell is going on inside. No, I don't care if you find the so-called perfect guy or the perfect girl. You will fuck it up some way, shape, or form if you don't get into this inner world, some introspection, some what makes me tick, what makes me happy, who am I, what do I want, where did I screw up in past relationships, how can I be better? Know thyself.
Know thyself. That's important. Yeah. A lot of people think they do, but they really don't. You know? And it seems like it's always the people that are closest to you that actually really know you. You know, because they see you from another point of view, which is usually how you really are. Because, most people don't think they're... Like a narcissist doesn't think he or she is a narcissist. Or somebody that's terrible in relationships, they don't think they're really terrible in relationships. Maybe they're like me and they blame it on the other person. Who knows? Relationships are just so damn tricky. When I was younger, I thought I had a better grasp on them. But it seems like the older I get, the harder it gets. The older you get, the harder it is to find someone that you're compatible with. It seems like the dating pool has just gotten so much smaller, at least here it has. And I don't know, it's it's just so hard. It's like I don't know, I've raised my kids. Both of my kids are adults, one's married and made me a grandfather a couple of months ago, and the other one's in the Air Force in Virginia. So I don't want to raise other kids, you know what I'm saying? So, and it seems like most people that I find attractive, in general, most women are still going to have kids in their late 30s to mid 40s. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're middle-aged teenagers, 15, 16 years old, or, I don't know. Like a lot of clients you work with, what's like the age range for the clients you work with?
Well, first, I want to address something you said.
Okay.
You need to change your story, my friend. Because your story is loaded with so much negativity. And so you are limiting yourself. You're like, this doesn't exist, and that doesn't exist, and this is hard, and the dating pool sucks. And you are like painting a really morbid picture for yourself.
Oh my God, you're not the first person to say that.
So you need to start telling yourself a new story. You need to like start reaching for what it is you want, rather than what you see, hear, taste, touch, smell is telling you. Because there are good women out there, just like there are good men out there. But if you believe that all the good ones are gone or they don't exist, sure as shit, that's what you'll get.
Nothing.
You'll get none of them.
You'll get nothing. You'll be going to the bar, coming home to a Jergens bottle every night. Not that I do that, no, I'm just saying. You know what? I'm going to change the name of my podcast to Mike's Therapy Session.
Perfect. Oh, but truly, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, how conditioned are we to look at? Okay, let's use this word that I can't stand because it's so limiting.
Okay.
Realistic. Okay.
Realistic. All right.
Realistic. I'm gonna look at statistics of single women, how old they are, how many kids they have. Right. I'm gonna look at all the shit I actually don't want. Because I'm gonna be realistic.
Okay.
I'm a realist here. Okay. And I'm gonna look at what's around me, my environment, what my five senses tell me, and because that is my so-called reality, I'm gonna believe it. But until you show me that unicorn woman that I want exists, until I actually see her, seeing is believing. It's not actually the accurate way to think of it, but that's what we've been taught. Seeing is believing. When I see it, Melanie, then I'll believe you. When I see that unicorn woman, that's everything that I wanted, and she doesn't have the kids, or the kids are older, or whatever it is for you, then I'll believe it. No, the believing has to come before the seeing.
Yeah, definitely. You have to believe it's out there. But they call it a unicorn for a reason. Unicorns don't exist.
I was inserting sarcasm, Mike. Okay, that was my sarcasm.
I totally Like, this is a unicorn with like 3 horns on its head. It just, it's even rarer. You know, have you seen the documentary about David Beckham on Netflix?
No. Mm-mm.
Well, you know, he's married to Victoria Beckham, who is Posh Spice, one of the Spice Girls, right?
Of course.
Now, they tell the story of how they met. And you know what? I am not going to lie. That made me kind of tear up, because that is the ultimate relationship that everybody is looking for. When they both just can't get enough of each other. They are talking to each other on the phone for like hours at a time. 2 a.m. He would go to games late because he was talking to her. He would drive 4 hours just to see her for 7 minutes before she went on tour with the Spice Girls. That is like relationship goals.
Yes.
Now, finding that, granted, they're both celebrities, they're both got money, but I think if you overlook all of that stuff and just see the way they felt for each other, that was just like genuine, true love. And I think that is just, here I go with that negativity again.
What?
I just think it's so hard to find that. So hard to find it these days.
I'm going to give you another secret, okay?
All right, give me the secret.
If you want to find the one, you have to first
Be the one. Yes.
That's it.
You have to be the one. Be the one.
And it's not, again, it's the inner game. So like, when lots of people first come to work with me, right? They're like, oh, I got this list. This is the kind of woman I want. This is the kind of man I want. And it's a very, let's just say, superficial list. Bank account, job status, family status, nothing about who they are as a human, as a soul. Nothing about their characteristics, their integrity, their ability to communicate, articulate, their ability to make you feel safe, their ability to let you see all of them, right? There's deeper things here, right? Deep things. Most people don't think that way. Well, because most people don't want you to see all these parts of them because they're terrified of being rejected. But the inner game, again, is all about becoming the one. So when you start to shed away the crap, right? Like the crap from your childhood, the crap from your mom, the crap from your environment, the crap from the bully at school. When you start to shed, it's not even that actually. When you start to shed away all the lies that you took on about yourself, because the majority of us believe the worst in ourselves. So we believe a lie. We're all from God. We're all creations of God. How can there be anything that's broken or wrong with any of us if this is true? But we believe it to be true. So therefore, that is all we can create because we are so powerful, right? Our thoughts indeed are things. Just play around with your life and prove it to yourself. Don't even listen. Don't let me be a talking head here. Look at your past experiences and think about, what was I thinking about? What did I believe? And then watch how you manifested shit that you either wanted or usually what you didn't want, right? So it's like, I became the one to attract the one. That's how I stopped attracting trolls and started attracting kings. I didn't change how I looked. The only thing different between how I look is I have brown hair now instead of blonde. That's it. That's because I got tired of my blonde hair and I wanted to change. The rest of me is the exact same. The same physique, I'm the same, okay? I've just gotten a little older, but I'm still the same. So it's the inner game that changed, the love of self that changed, the acceptance of self, the forgiveness of self. Holy shit, we're so hard on ourselves and so mean to ourselves. So like, listen to your inner dialogue, right? Do you talk shit to yourself consistently? Are you like your worst critic or are you your biggest cheerleader? Because that inner game is what is attracting to you your outside experiences. That's as simple as I can make it. You need to change the inner game, the inner dialogue, the inner belief system. You need to get out of all the boxes that society has put you in and said, this makes you good and this makes you bad. This makes you right and this makes you wrong. You're going to heaven if you're this, you're going to hell if you're doing this. Get the fuck out of all the boxes. Nobody is here to be in a box, okay? We are all unique, beautiful, powerful people, mind, bodies, and souls, all to have a cool life, a wonderful life. And does that mean that like bad shit doesn't happen? No, it doesn't. But how you react to it, what you feel about it, what you do with it, how you see it is going to either give you a good life or a miserable life.
Yeah. I tell you what, just talking to you right now makes me want to go to the gym and maybe go run like 2 or 3 miles. You know, you've just like exuberate all this energy on me right now and all this positivity. I could just imagine being around you all day and how good it would make you feel. You know, they say, you know, you have to surround yourself. You have like one step of making yourself a better person and changing the way you think and the way you project is surround yourself with positive people. You know, if you're constantly around negative people, you're going to just be negative all the time. So, yeah, you know, if I had like 3 of you around me all day, my God.
Yeah, and you know what else? For those people that are listening, they're like, I don't have anybody like that. Be that person for yourself. Be that person for yourself.
Be that person.
That's who I had to be. I had to be that person for myself first.
Be the one. Be the
That's
one.
right. Be the one.
Melanie, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I won't hold you up anymore. I know you're a busy person. You probably have people that you need to go make brighten up their evening there in Phoenix. So, go ahead. Plug your stuff. You've got your website, thewildheartlife.com. I know you've got other social media people can find you on.
Yeah, so thewildheartlife.com, you can find ways to work with me, book calls to talk to me and see if we're a good fit together.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. That's where I am primarily. If you Googled my name, you'll probably find me in more stuff, but that's where I spend the majority of my time, under Melanie Verstraete, or I am Melanie Verstraete. Yeah.
You are the one and only Melanie Verstraete, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. I enjoyed talking to you. I hope you'll come on again sometime.
Yeah, I had a good time too. Thank you so much for having me.
Maybe I'll have some more positive stuff to talk about next time you're on.
Yeah, change your story.
Change my story. That's my goal for next time. I'm going to change my story just for you.
Yes.
No, and for me.
Tell yourself the stuff you want, okay?
Yeah.
Want and start saying it.
Well, I am going to start tonight by going to trivia with some friends, and I am actually going to dress up. So, yes, I think we're friends on Facebook, so you might actually see a picture of me dressed up later. Who knows?
Nice.
Well, Melanie, thanks again, and I hope you have a good rest of the day out there in Arizona.
Thank you so much. You as well.
All right, folks, we will catch you next time. Bye.